Commissioners, we are back on the air. We're back into our meeting. Welcome back. And before we make some presentations today that are exciting, much deserved, I'd like to see if there's any unfinished business that the Commissioners need to take care of before we move forward with the presentations.
I have one item, Commissioner Baker.
Okay.
Just owing to the unique nature of the role of county clerk, I would like to move to reclassify county clerk as a grade 15 position and to promote Krista Hart, the current office holder of that, to a grade 15 step 10, which would be a salary of $75,213. In doing so, I would also like to reclassify the formerly approved position of administrative assistant and to make that an office associate instead of full-time, make it a part-time position, grade 6.
Okay, so that's a motion
A
that
motion.
you're providing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for that recommendation. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, 3-1. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Okay, any other unfinished business Commissioners or staff need to present? Okay, at this time, very honored to have Allegheny Wrecking and Salvage business in our presence here this afternoon for some very deserving recognition certificates. And I know I'm going to be presenting one of the certificates, and I'm going to be quite honored to present this certificate to Allegheny Wrecking and Salvage in particular, Joel Murbaugh. And it's going to be part of the ceremony for recognizing and having the ability to stop work on the structure, the cabin, the log cabin down at 417 North Jonathan Street. And we'll like to say that very few demolition people would take and stop a project that's been awarded to them. Probably no one else in Washington County in the demolition field would ever stop the demolition of a very, very important cabin for Washington County. So we do have some recognition to present to the Murbaughs this afternoon. And before I present my certificate, I think Commissioner Kiefer would like to add another presenter that was hopeful to be here this afternoon, but it didn't work out. So,
In addition to the commissioners, actually, I think you're set to receive one more award today from our Historical Advisory Committee, and I'm the commissioner who's honored to serve on that committee as well. I'll let them speak. I don't want to steal their thunder, but as Commissioner Baker said, you know, there's a nice untold story here about how that building came to be preserved. And as one of you were actively engaged in tearing that building down, you saw the logs and you thought twice about just moving on with what you were contracted to do. So that history is saved because of your company. We thank you for that. Mayor of Hagerstown, Emily Keller, she sends her regrets. She was hoping to be here as well today to present you with an award. She got held up with important business at City Hall, and we know she's no doubt busy helping the city of Hagerstown. So I would expect a call or an email from her office soon for another recognition, so probably to take place at Town Hall. Okay, thank you.
and the most important part of the presentation today is for the citizens and the community to understand you're the one that discovered the log cabin when you started to do your demolition services, and it's just amazing that you just said, hey, I can't take this any further. This needs to be looked at. So your discovery is very, very important, and we just want to thank you for not continuing with the destruction. So with that, and commissioners, you're welcome to join me up here. I think we all should be up here presenting this if you'd like.
To give to them.
Thank you.
To give to them. It's a handout.
There you go.
Also, before I present the certificate in its certificate form, you're welcome to stand right here. I'd like to welcome two former county commissioners. We have Ron Bowers and we have Linda Irving Craig, two former county commissioners here, and they are so impressed with this presentation that they couldn't stay away. So anyhow, Again, just like to provide a certificate of recognition to Allegheny Wrecking and Salvage. In recognition of Allegheny Wrecking and Salvage and owner Joel Murbaugh, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County do hereby offer our sincerest gratitude for your diligence surrounding the historical findings at 417 North Jonathan Street, Hagerstown. Had it not been for the conscientious efforts of the members of your team to halt the demolition of the historic architectural log cabin, estimated to date prior to 1820, the structure may never have been exposed. We thank you for displaying such a valued interest in our history held throughout Washington County. Again, we just want to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. And
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
awesome job. And
I beat you up.
well, thank you. Thank you. And
I'm not much of a speaker.
well, if you'd like to say some words,
Mike's
you're
all
welcome.
yours.
Well,
And then we could have any of the county commissioners that would like to chime in, and they're welcome also.
I just, thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
I really don't know what to say, but
Well,
it's
You
been
did
my day.
you did the right thing, and we just want to thank you.
I just want to say that, my son there, Josh, and we were down there working, and I said, take that bathroom off the back of there, and he pulled it off, and we saw the logs, and I said, I don't want to tear this building down. We called the owner, the representative, Mr. Davis, and Reggie Turner, and they come down, and we walked around there, and they said, well, don't do anything they come back at the end of the day and said, let's rewrite the contract, let's clean it out, and let's keep the structure, open the structure so we can see what it is. So we took everything off the outside, and I had never in my wildest dreams ever thought that thing was that old. I knew it was old, but I didn't know it was that old, and I didn't know it had anything to do with the Jonathan Hager and those people. The founders of Hagerstown. I didn't have any idea it was that old, and I'm glad we didn't. I had the foresight to say, we're not gonna do this, and we're not gonna tear it down, so we didn't tear it down. To find out it's one of the oldest structures in Hagerstown, it's really, really nice. And,
Thank you.
me and my son, we stopped and we didn't do anymore. We
As
just,
soon as I pulled the back wall out, and he come around the corner, he saw them logs, and he just kind of put his hands up, I reached up, I was getting ready to, I'll level that, I'll have that thing on the ground in about 2 hours.
if we wouldn't have stopped, we wouldn't even be here. None of us would even be here talking about it, because it would have been in the landfill. It would have been long gone.
What was it about the logs?
Well, they were cut on an angle. I had the Kamier smokehouse on my property on Broad Footing Road. And I seen how them beams are hewn. They're cut actually like a V, and the logs are set on a V, not flattened out and locked over top of one another. And then I thought, well, that's gotta be pretty old. I mean, I knew that building out there, and that Louis Kamier come over here on the same boat that Jonathan Hecker came over here on. They came here on the same boat, if I think I'm saying history right. But, I knew that building was old, and I'm just glad I was part of saving it. And, for the history that is there on Jonathan Street, our family has done a lot of demolition. We've done a lot of work for the county and the city and all the general contractors in the area, the four-state area. We look forward to keep on working with you. This is my son, Josh. I've retired and give him the company, so he's, at your, just give him a call.
Sounds to me like you're his boss. You told him to stop.
Well,
Well,
at the time, he still.
they were still my company, so that's,
Still
we're
his
still my
company
company.
then, and,
But, yeah, I'm just thankful for everybody that's got involved down there, Mr. Hogan and everybody's gonna preserve that building, and I'm just glad it's gonna go that way, and it didn't end up in a landfill. That's a great piece of history there. I just never in my wildest dreams thought that building was that old. I just didn't, and then when they started doing the archaeological dig there, and Preservation of Maryland come in there, and now what they're doing, I don't know what all they're gonna do there, but I see they built a piece on the back and put a new roof on it. The logs are exposed. I think it's gonna turn out to be a nice prize for Hagerstown. I really do.
Another thing that made it old is when we saw they had a brick gable on it.
See, I never saw one like that. I see a log cabin, it's logs all the way up. It doesn't, now there might be a rinky-dink chimney up in there going, but this had a brick wall on the end of the cabin, sitting up on top of the logs. I never seen one like that. I told him, this thing's old. I said, I don't know how old it is, but it's old. And like I said, I'm just glad that we got a hold of Mr. Turner and talked to Mr. Davies there, and we saved the property, and so you guys know the rest of the story. But I really appreciate this award. This really means a lot to me and my family. It really
I
does.
would like to add,
Thank you.
Joe for 49 years. One thing that I admire about him, he takes pride in his work, and he loves the fact that he's able to save structures. And I'm so proud of this man, and I'm grateful for everything you've done.
Thank you, honey. Let me tell you something, this is all our family's done.
That's the story you don't hear much. People who did demolition that actually wanna save something, you know, it's just
Yes.
tear it down and get.
I can tell you for over the years, I mean, my grandfather wrecked, he wrecked, I wrecked, I'm third generation going. We've removed a lot of buildings out of this town, and not always was it, people were happy about it. And, you know, sometimes you can't, sometimes you gotta go out with old to get new things to where we are. But when you have the power to say, hey, you know, if someone wouldn't have known what it was, it'd been on a pile, it'd have been gone, and been talked about, and it might not have been known about. And the fact that you have, like you said, you have that power, you are there, if you know the history and you can tell, you can save it. And I know this means a lot to my dad. I mean,
I want to thank all you. I want to thank you, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, for what you did here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Murbaugh, we certainly appreciate your contribution to history in Washington County. Here is a lapel pin for you,
Thank you.
and 1, 2, 3, 4, one for your entire entourage there.
Just been commissioned, how about that?
I like that.
Does that mean I get to run for county commissioner? Does that mean I get to run for county commissioner? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry about it being misty-eyed, but I mean, it really chokes me up to be recognized for anything,
Passionate
really.
about it.
You know?
Yes,
Well,
he's very passionate with the work he's done. He really is.
You're familiar with our logo, George Washington, but I would venture to guess that those logs you saved were probably in trees growing when he was alive.
Wow,
Are you serious?
wow, that's amazing.
Well, when they did the core, whatever they do, they take a test of
That's
them
crazy.
logs to figure out where they were
Yeah.
at. And they come back from 1740s or 1730s.
Weren't they in another building in one spot and then they used them?
Yeah, I think it was
Yes.
I thought it was a structure somewhere else, and they took it down and then brought to that place and put up.
That's what I was,
Twice.
it was
But
rebuilt
that
twice.
Jonathan Street that runs down through there, as far as I know, that was named for Jonathan Hager. I don't know, I think that's, I mean, I guess the Lord of Pennsylvania bequeathed a bunch of property
We're
to
getting
him.
a sanction over here. It was, they confirmed that.
Right.
They're fact checking you the whole time. You don't
Okay.
know.
Why don't you hold that up so we can get a picture of?
Let's get a picture of the commissioners, and then we'll bring the historical advisory.
Okay, that'd be wonderful.
Stand back here, Dad. I'll get your-
Who and I shake hands? Who wants to shake hands? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more award here.
You gotta hang around.
Very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
I'm, like I say, I was very proud of this man.
Now you're commissioned twice.
Yes.
Josh, nice.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Would you join us again, please? All right,
Linda, do you want a pen?
I have a bunch of
We have
them.
dozens of them.
I'll put it-
Stand with you if you don't mind.
That's fine, we'd love to have you here. Okay. All right. You don't know who we are. Okay. We are, Ralph Young and I are the co-chairs of the Washington County Historic Advisory Committee. And every year, we do recognition for people who have done something special for historic preservation. Because of the pandemic, we've not been able to award anyone. So this is an opportunity for us as well to, and put you then on our permanent list gets re-upped every year. So that'll stay in our program each year for you. And the,
Our committee, we advise the county commissioners on matters of historic preservation.
right,
We serve at we are a county committee, a
right,
appointed committee.
right.
So, but we wanted to recognize you for what you've done.
Yeah. And one of the most important things about it is that it was the delayed demolition that saved this property, which is something we've been advocating for some time.
Well, we stopped. Like I said, when we uncovered it and we saw what it was, I didn't want to tear it down. I actually said, my son, I said, let's try to buy it. Let's try to buy the building, you know, but they come in and found out what it was there and they just said, don't do anything and we'll get back with you. And that's what we did. We didn't do anything.
And
Glad you did.
that's the difference in historic preservation. It's huge. A huge piece of that is getting that little extra time sometimes to make, make the evaluation. Perhaps if it still needs to come down, then we get to reuse the materials. All of those kinds of things are a part of what we're working on.
That's what we do. We salvage the material out of these buildings and the beams and the brickwork and sell the stuff and that type of thing. Try to reuse it, incorporate it into something else. I mean,
Well, I'm going to read this. As a certificate of recognition is presented to Allegheny Wrecking and Salvage / Murbaugh family. The members of the Washington County Historical Advisory Committee wish to express our sincerest appreciation for recognizing the property at 417 North Jonathan Street as a century-old building. With little thought to the loss of income your business may experience, you halted the demolition of the building and brought in assistance to document your findings and to preserve and adapt the structure for reuse. If not for the efforts of your crew, the history of that building would have been lost. On behalf of all the members of our committee, we thank you once more. Issued June 8th, 2021 by the Washington County Historical Advisory Committee and signed by co-chairs Ralph Young and Linda Urban Craig. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be invited to the volunteer as well.
Bring my wife?
Sure.
Only if you more than
Once we get back to hopefully 2022, we'll be able to do that.
Can I ask you something? Can I get my friend Ron Byers down here and get a picture? Sure. Get a picture.
Okay, you want it a little tighter?
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody? Can we do that? He's been a family friend for 45, 50 years. We go way back. Glad to get a picture. Like to take a picture. Would you take a picture, Mom? Judy, would you take a picture here? So that I can get it off the camera?
I'll take an editorial comment since I think I probably have standing to do so. Linda, I don't know if you remember 1989 Hurricane Hugo. We recognized your father, John, for organizing 5 truckloads of freight and things to go down to Charleston, South Carolina for the worst hurricane in history. You probably were involved in that and you really didn't realize it. But I'm glad to shake your hand today because I shook your dad's hand. Linda and I's had our controversy over tearing buildings and stuff down. This is right. What you did today is right, and I hope history rectifies itself to the press and to everybody, that they pick up what has been done and what has been said today, because the whole truth has not been told. So, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. You're a true friend.
This way.
There we go.
Hold that certificate out, Joe.
Upside down?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, just, we're gonna close our meeting and then don't leave yet. Get a chance to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice certificate presentation. Thank you for being a part of it. Thanks to everybody for being a part of it. And again, just a very historical moment for Washington County. And with that, I'd like to have a motion to close today's County Commissioner meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.